We're going to change gears for a moment. We have a short presentation on GreenScreen, getting access to carbon credits. And to present is John Moulopoulos, who's a graduate of Michigan's Naval Architecture and Marine Engineering School and holds a master's in financial engineering from the Ross School of Business. He's a Maine, Michigan man. He hails from a Greek shipping family that's been in the ship ownership and management business since the late 1800s, focused on the bulker, tanker, and passenger ferry space. In the past 10 years, John's been heavily involved in investment banking deals and advisory services, focused solely on the maritime space. And this past summer, he joined Marsoft, providing support to clients from Chile, New York City, all the way to warm and sunny Boreas. John.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you all for being here. It's good to be back to Marine Money. So well intended. It's nice to be able to recognize people because you're not all wearing the masks now. I have about 9 minutes and 51 seconds to wow you, and I'm going to use 5 slides to do it, one of which is this beautiful slide right here. I'm going to start by borrowing a phrase, a line from one of my favorite movies in the 90s, which is Glengarry Glen Ross. On the Marsoft team, not a lot of people had seen that movie. Hopefully I get more people that recognize this quote here. And away. There you go. Let's talk about something important. Now, what is GreenScreen? We're going to do a quick crash course on GreenScreen. GreenScreen is a way to get paid for your decarbonization investments. Marsoft has made 2 collaborations, one with a team from MIT and one with an organization called Gold Standard, which allows us to model the carbon emission savings that you get from installing retrofits on your ships. Then Gold Standard accepts the results of the model as a basis to verify that and get the ship owner carbon credits that he can then save or liquidate. This is how the process goes. 1, the ship owner makes a choice and installs a retrofit, a newest duct, a new propeller, bolts bow, anything he chooses. 2, he enrolls in the GreenScreen program. 3, we model the ship and it's before retrofit phase and as is the retrofit. 4, we enroll the ship in a project that goes to Gold Standard. They verify it, and then on an annual basis, they get you carbon credits, which you can then liquidate right away, or you can save if you see the price going higher, like we do. You pay once, as in now, and then you get 5 years, a minimum of 5 years of emissions reductions in carbon credits. I'm going to show you in a couple of slides why this is a very robust financial case and how minimal the downside is. The second to last bullet says setting a higher standard. That's very important. There's a few ways that you can lower emissions from your ships, right? You can steam slower, reduce speed, you can burn something cleaner, or you can install a retrofit. GreenScreen only applies to that last option, and it cannot be just about any retrofit. It has to be something that is not industry standard for that type of ship. It has to be above business as usual. It has to be something that you don't see on all the ships. As the Michigan chant goes, we're looking for the leaders and best. The bottom line is, what are you doing? You're reliably increasing the returns from your retrofit investments while doing good for the planet and help keeping greenhouse gases in check. There we go. Let me explain the word breakthrough here. This process of getting carbon credits from retrofits has been done before by a company called AkzoNobel. What they did was they gathered data for 5 years for a ship's consumption of fuel. Then the ship owner would install a retrofit, and then they'd get another 5 years after the installation of the retrofit to see what the change was. Now, you can all see what the problem is there. Who has 10 years to spare? With our model, 97% accurate. Gold Standard accepts that model as a basis, and if by the end of the year you're in the project, you would get carbon credits based on the savings that you got. Now the chart on the right there shows you a few examples of retrofits that we've already modeled. Our goal is to be able to provide the full spectrum, the full menu of retrofits that ship owners are looking at and installing on their ships. What we're working on next is wind assist and air bubbles, the kind you saw MSC in the news for a couple months ago. Of course, the model can allow for different combinations of retrofits, so the non-linear interaction between the retrofits can be included. So it could be any combination of retrofits. This is marine money, so let's talk about the money. Everything you see on this page has to do with the incremental benefit and cost that you get from GreenScreen. I'm not talking about bunker savings or anything that you would get just by doing the retrofit. This is the cost of GreenScreen and the benefit from GreenScreen itself. 2 unique ships out of 10. Why is that important? In our case study, we're going to talk about 10 ships, 2 of which are unique. Marsoft is only going to model the 2 ships that are unique. If you have 10 ships that get the same exact retrofit, we're only going to model 2 ships, so we're not going to charge for 10. You get benefit for 10 ships. So that's what the cost looks like. 2 times $15,000, which is the cost of evaluating the baseline condition of the ship, so the ship without the retrofit, and then a $10,000 fee to do the verification of the retrofit. Gold standard charges $4,000 per ship, so it's not per unique ship, it's per ship, for a total of $90,000. The CO2 reduction per ship per steaming day that I'm looking at here is 9.3 tons. That's about a 7% saving for a standard 2010 built Capesize. So you're saving about 3 tons of bunkers, which is 9.3 tons of CO2 saved. The price per carbon credit that I'm using is $15. We've seen fluctuations and we've seen a great increase in liquidity in the last year. We believe $15 is a very good approximation for what you would get for the carbon credits 1 year from now when you get your first batch. So let's look at the first year revenue. 10 ships, 9.3 tons a day of CO2 savings. 250 days steaming, you can argue about that, a little bit up or a little bit down. That's a pretty conservative number, I think. Times 15 bucks per ton gets us to $350,000. As you can see, in 1 year, you're paying back your investment. And I think that's the best way to look at it. There's a lot of teams that are projecting prices for carbon in the next year or 2 or going forward, and Marsoft's happy to get you in touch with some price quotes. But the best way to look at it is, what is the price at which I would have to sell all the carbon credits for this example in order to break even on my $90,000 investment? And that's a little under $4. Things to remember. I'm going to leave you with a few takeaways here. The purpose of GreenScreen is to make decarbonization investments more attractive to the ship owners. If you're looking at those fancy new hull robots that clean the hull and you're on the fence about making that investment, this should make it easier. Number 2, gold standard projects work in 2-year windows. What does that mean? That means that ships that get retrofits in a 2-year period can be put in the same project for gold standard. That also goes back 2 years. That's very important. Anything you've done, say in 2021, or going back 24 months, can be included in the project. We do not want you to lose money or leave money on the table because you waited too long to think about it. If you've done something in 2021 or 2020, it's a good idea to enroll in the program as soon as possible to make sure you do not leave cash on the table. As I said before, you pay once and you get carbon credits for a minimum of 5 years. As soon as the 5-year time period is up, the gold standard makes a review of the project to make sure that what you installed, that retrofit, is still valid, is still additional, and is still something that is not business as usual, as I said before. If it's something that's industry standard by then, you do not get the extra 5 years. As I said before, the most attractive thing about it is a very low break-even price. We think it's very highly unlikely that you would break even or lose money on this program. If you want to read more, go to marsoft.com/Marsoft GreenScreen. I'm looking forward to getting emails from any of you that are interested, or grab me outside at some point. Thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of the forum.